France has started pulling its troops from Mali, the first step in handing over operations to a UN-approved African force. The French anticipated a short campaign against Islamist insurgents in January, but now plan on keeping 1,000 troops by the end of the year. The military intervention initially drove out the militants from northern Mali, but some retreated to desert hideouts in the vast area. RT's Tessa Asilla has the details.
They say, though, that they still plan on that, continuing that reduction of their 4,000-strong military personnel currently on the ground. And in keeping these 1,000 troops, they say will be part of a future UN peacekeeping mission. However, this is in stark contrast to what French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius had said in January.
Regarding France's direct involvement, it is only a matter of weeks. Later on, we can come as backup, but we have no intention of staying forever.
Now, the French had gone into Mali warning against the threat of Islamist extremism against Europe. Now, clearly, any plan of a complete withdrawal is off the table. Now, this 1,000 troops that they plan to keep on the ground falls under a call made by UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon in deploying about 11,200 troops and 1,440 police on the ground in Mali after major combat. Now, Ban Ki-moon's plan also includes a parallel force, one that will directly deal with Al-Qaeda-linked militants and extremists. And according to Reuters, this is likely to be French troops as well. I also spoke with a former French intelligence officer who had been stationed in Northern Africa and the Middle East for about 20 years. And he says that from the very start, he had been doubtful that this operation in Mali was going to be short.
The French army expelled the insurgents and the Islamists from the cities. Okay, it was not so complicated actually. And so what? They will retreat? What will happen? Jihadists will come back. Exactly as they did in Afghanistan when the Soviets withdrew in 1989. Exactly as they will do in Afghanistan in the year when the last American soldier will withdraw. Exactly as they did in Iraq when the US troops withdrew. The insurgency is back. It cannot be a short war because in counterinsurgency short war don't exist.
Now, when François Hollande had first announced this military operation in Mali, 2/3 of the French people were in support of these actions. Now, many observers and analysts have already said that if this becomes a long, drawn-out war, public opinion could quickly change.
Well, France has been carrying out a major operation in Mali with ground troops, tanks and air support searching for Islamist bases near Gao. The city has seen suicide bombings and clashes between joint forces and militants since February. Igor Piskunov now examines the challenges of maintaining stability in Mali.
Mali has become yet another front in the global war on terror, but this anti-terror operation just may be too difficult to scale down so quickly. First, let's review what's already been done, and more importantly, how. Aviation is what this operation started with, and support of ground troops from the skies has always been one of its foundation stones. The first planes to battle the Islamists came from here, a French military base in Chad. Helicopter support came from another base in Burkina Faso. Some of the aviation was later rebased to the capital of Mali, and soon other bases were engaged as well, like the ones in Ivory Coast and Niger. But then there's the question of refueling. The mission for pilots going out of Chad, for instance, usually takes 7 to 8 hours, and they have to be refueled 5 times along the way. This is where the US and Germany come in. But if German planes have to come from Senegal and American planes have to come all the way from Spain. So altogether, this is quite a complicated combat scheme. When it comes to ground troops, the French got into this by themselves. Mali's army was and still is demoralized, if 4,500 troops even can be called an army. And pretty much the only supporters that the French have, and quite unexpectedly I might add, are 2,000 troops from Chad. And when it comes to the West, well, no one's keen on sending troops there directly. Britain is only looking at sending combat instructors to train troops. With all this effort, Paris has managed to push the Islamists to the north of the country, securing key cities, but with fighting still going on in the mountains and a string of suicide bomber attacks in several cities, it's clear that the Islamists are not exactly all out, nor are they defeated, which raises the comparison with another country, Afghanistan, where the terrorists terrorists live in the midst of peaceful civilians. They also use so-called hit-and-run guerrilla tactics. So the French have been combing through a valley north of Gao. It's believed that many of the Islamists can be hiding there. But the question is, what comes next?